at a lantern walk, you typically make a lantern and then you can parade around with those lanterns. So the very first thing that you need to think about when you are planning a lantern walk is your location. You want to pick a location that has an open area so that you are able to make lanterns. You can have, like I show in this picture, it could be a spot that has tables, but it doesn't necessarily need to be. Could be that you put out different tarps on the ground and people can stand on that. Blankets, you could just put out the materials separated out. And that can show families where they can sit and they can do the work of creating these lanterns. You also want an area where there's a path or a sidewalk, a trail or gravel, so you have somewhere to parade around when you're ready to walk with those lanterns. The best timing for a lantern walk is typically about an hour or two before sunset. I'm on the East Coast, so like 3 or 4 o'clock would be like probably an ideal time to facilitate a lantern walk, because the families would come, they'd create their lantern, and then they'd be able to walk. Then you can think about bringing books so that when families do finish creating their lantern, they could sit and read, and they can also explore the park. Another thing when you're thinking about planning is thinking about the weather, right? So part of that can be bringing maybe a warm drink and having a little drink station, whether that's making like an herbal tea or bringing some hot chocolate. That can help just kind of warm up your event. So the things that you will need to run your own lantern walk is some tissue paper. You'll be able to help families find leaves, and I have a couple leaves here, and maybe some petals. You can you need water and glue, tea lights. The best ones are, there's like little battery operated ones. You should be able to order them from Target or Amazon. And the same thing for mason jars. Those are great from Target. They have a really good price, so you can get those. Then you need paintbrushes and some string or twine. You'll want to ahead of time pre-cut the tissue paper. You'll want to have like a mixture of half water, half glue. Cut the twine about 6 inches and remove the center lid of the mason jar, and you'll just return the rim. You won't need that center of your mason jar, so you can keep that and you can use it for other projects. Actually, Tinkergarten talks about some other projects you can do with those center pieces. You can look on their website, or maybe you have some ideas, things you can do with that. And also you'll want to print the directions and song lyrics if you would like to sing while you're walking. I made a PDF of the directions, which I'll share with you. So all you have to do is just print that and cut it, and you'll have that all ready to go for your lantern walk. So when your families are there to make a lantern, it's very simple and easy and something that can be done quickly at the park. You want to encourage the families to let their children take the lead on creating this masterpiece. However it turns out is wonderful, whether it's one piece of tissue paper on the lantern or 100 pieces of tissue paper, big leaves, little leaves, different nature treasures that they throw inside. Those are all welcome and enjoyed with this lantern. It's simple. You just need to use the glue and the water. You paint that on. You'll be able to stick on the tissue paper. For the leaves and the petals, you need to be a little more delicate. Make sure you really press those in and put another layer on top of the glue. And when you're there, just let the families leave that sitting for a couple minutes while they explore the park. And then it should be ready to walk and explore in the park. The last thing they'll need to do is just tie the twine to that top rim piece, and then they'll turn on their light and put it inside. Children love to be outside no matter what the weather is. The thing that is important to think about is how they're dressed. If you are cold and uncomfortable, you're not going to enjoy your experience outside. Because your fingers are chilly or you're wet. That doesn't feel comfortable to sit for a long time outside. So the ways that you can still enjoy being outside, even when it is rainy, wet, cold, windy, is by dressing appropriately. So now, the day of your event, right? It's time, you planned it, you advertised, people signed up, now you're ready. When you go to your park that day, you want to lay out your materials for each individual group. And like I said, it can be a tarp, a table, hula hoops, just putting out the materials. And if you think that it's appropriate, you can have a tea or warm drink station. Children love that special experience of like a warm drink. So I found that can be like really inviting for a child. So that could be a way to bring that in. And then a book station, and you really want to have wipes available or some way to clean your hand, whether it's wipes or it's a towel and some warm water. You need to be able to clean your hands because, like I said, you're using glue and water, and kids, it gets sticky. All right, after you've set up, your families will start to arrive. And as they do, you want to invite them to sit down with the materials. They'll have the instructions, so they'll know what to do. And as they finish, they can get that warm drink. They can bring over a book. You can invite them to look for some nature treasures together. And that can be a really fun way to bring in some of that creativity and imagination, looking for those nature treasures. And for older children, maybe they want to build, right? So a way that you could bring that in is by asking them to find some sticks and gathering sticks, and they could make a menorah, a dreidel. They want to make a house. This can be a really fun way for young and older children to connect with the activity of collecting nature treasures together. Next, after most people have arrived and they've made their lantern, and you'll see some people make them quickly. Some people it's slower. That's okay. When the majority of people have kind of finished creating, you can get ready to do your walk. You can gather them together. You could read a story. If it's during Hanukkah, you could light the Hanukkah menorah together. And then you can tell them where you are going to walk with your lantern, and you can have them join you. You can sing some songs. But also, if singing isn't your strong suit and that isn't your comfort level, you can also just walk and enjoy the walk. Children love just walking through nature. So however it fits for you, whether you love that music piece or that's maybe not where your strong suit is, you can still enjoy it and find a wonderful path that you can go on as you walk.
How long of a walk do you recommend?
It's really up to you and your park. But I find that typically about about a 10-minute walk. So like about a quarter of a mile would be good. That's sufficient. Usually that's when little legs start to get tired.